It's time to take your business to the next level, the boss level. These are the premier business owner strategies and successes being utilized by the industry's top talent today. Rock your business like a boss, a VO boss. Now let's welcome your host, Ann Ganguza.
Hey everyone, welcome to the VO Boss Podcast and the Boss Superpower Series. I'm your host, Ann Ganguza, along with my amazing, awesome, most wonderful boss co-host, Law Lapidez. Hey, Law.
Hi, Annie. Happy Saturday.
Yes, happy Saturday, Law. You know, Law, it's a new year, and I am full of promise and full of motivation and inspiration.
Yes.
And we've just come off this season of, I like to call it the season of giving, because I love to give gifts and I love to donate to my favorite charities. And you know what? I also like to receive gifts. But we don't always talk about that. We talk about giving, but what about receiving? And sometimes, Law, those gifts, they're not in a box. So let's talk about the gift of receiving, shall we?
It's so interesting to me. I love this topic. And because there's so many cultural differences of how we receive, there's gender differences, there's age and generational differences. And I don't hear anyone really talking about how do we get something, receive something, take something, and how do we behaviorally deal with that? Like something as simple, I'll tell you what's in my brain right now. When someone comes into my home or my studio, the first thing I do, and this was in my training, was to offer them something. I offer them a hot drink. I offer them
warm
water.
beverage.
I offer them a warm beverage of their choice, right? And that is definitely generational, but it's also cultural.
Yeah.
Because that's the background, Eastern European background. We are gift givers. We give a lot to others, right? And there's different schools of thought, business-wise, as to how you receive that. And how I train my clients is take it. Take it. You don't have to drink it. You don't have to want it, but take it because it's giving a message to the person who's giving it to you that you are cordially receiving something that they're offering to you.
Yeah.
That's part of their protocol
Absolutely.
and their etiquette, right?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's always been hard for me to receive, and I think a lot of maybe women, maybe a lot of people share this, is a compliment. I'm just saying. That is so difficult for me without downplaying it. And honestly, the best thing you can do to receive that compliment is to receive it with gratitude, even if you don't feel it, right? I mean, how many times do people send a compliment your way and you're like, oh, no, it was nothing, or...
Yes.
And especially, though, when it comes to our businesses, too, though, isn't it funny? When it comes to our businesses, I am more than happy to take a compliment from a client. Do you know what I mean? If a client's like, oh, my God, great job. Right? I'm very happy about that. Inside, I'm bursting with pride and joy. And hopefully that's every boss out there when they get a compliment or good feedback from their client. And I think that you must receive that. And if you receive that, that really speaks volumes to professionalism, right? And courtesy and understanding what it means to the other person when they're giving you something such as a compliment. Doesn't have to have monetary value. Of course, we all like to have gifts of gold. But, you know, in addition to that, a gift of a kind word is really something I think that is truly like giving of the other person. And if you reject it, then that's a little insulting and hurtful.
I think you hit the nail on the head, too, when you said, especially with women, how we're not always in the mood to receive that or expecting that or even deserving of that in our mindset. It's a little bit of that imposter syndrome that comes in when someone gives you that compliment in that moment of like, oh, how do I take that? Do I deserve that? Oftentimes we'll say, oh, no, I just got this dumb outfit. You know, it was on sale. Anyway, you look terrific. You look great. And I throw
this old thing.
This old thing, it's been hanging in my closet. Doesn't mean, but you look terrific. You look amazing. We'll throw it right back at the other person, which they don't realize oftentimes that is a passive-aggressive, non-accepting.
Yeah, when you throw it back.
value, because it's not just a compliment, it's showcasing your value.
It's almost like when you throw it back, and it's not that you don't mean it, but sometimes when you throw it back immediately, it's almost like you don't accept what they're giving to you, and you're like, oh no, you look great. And so then it becomes that kind of a battle of maybe, well, who's giving here and who's the gracious receiver, right? There's gracious giving and there's gracious receiving.
Yes,
and I truly believe that it needs to be within our boss superpowers to be able to receive. And something that we're talking a little more on maybe a loftier level in terms of nothing that has monetary value, but definitely has value, like a compliment, right? An act of kindness, that sort of thing. What about money, Law? I mean, how hard is it sometimes for us to accept, for a job well done, I'm happy to accept money, but thinking about, am I worth the money? Am I asking for enough money? And what if I get more money? And is that hard for me to receive? Because again, we have some of these mental issues sometimes with accepting money. And that really kind of, I think, goes back to our value or our feelings of self-worth.
Yes. And you know what? That money may be in money form and it may go towards an actual gift, right? And I recently received one of the gifts in the mail I literally just got within a week ago was from a client of mine who sent me one of those beautiful boxes for a holiday for Thanksgiving that was chock full of coffee beans and caramel and just everything under the sun. And I was so surprised when I opened it up. I was so amazed that someone was thinking of me in that way. But how I reacted to it now on retrospect, when I look at that, what did I do immediately? I thanked her. I loved it. And then I immediately started to give it away. I immediately started to offer it to my clients coming through that I
here,
see,
let me
to my
share,
family. Here, let me give this to you. Let me share this to you. And I oftentimes wonder, is a gift really meant for you when it's given to you? Or is it meant for you to do what you see fit with that gift? So if you get the monetary cash and you want to give it to charity, how would that person, how would the giver actually feel about that if they really wanted to give it to you? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, that is an interesting question. Well, you know what? I think that if a gift is given, it is because, or at least for me, the person that is giving it wants to extend a gift for the other person to experience joy, I would think, and appreciation. And I feel like for me, whatever they choose to do with it, I mean, unless I feel like they secretly hate it and they gave it away and they're like, oh gosh, this is like, what is it called?
The
white elephant gift. Yes,
the
exactly.
Elephant gift.
And so then I would be a little hurt if I knew. But I think my intentions are to provide a token of appreciation, a token of here's how I feel about you. And if the other person doesn't accept it for themselves graciously at first, and then I realize, oh, maybe they've immediately given it away or something, then I would be hurt. I would be hurt by that.
Right.
Feeling like they've rejected my gift.
But Annie, let's be honest, we've all done that. Haven't we all gotten that scarf or those gloves that are just the ugliest thing in the world and you think, oh, they're itchy, they don't really fit me well. Let me elephant gift that to someone who will appreciate it. And if not, you notice people are starting to say, if you don't want it, it's okay, pass
donate.
it on.
I'm like a donate. The other thing would be like, here's one. Things that people have made for me. Now, this could be homemade food. This could be homemade gifts. This could be my grandmother knitting me a sweater or a look. My mother knitted me. Oh, I'm going to get me all teary. But my mother, you know, she knitted me Afghans and blankets. And my aunt used to sew clothes for me. And it reminds me of the bunny suit on A Christmas Story with Ralphie. And so you accept that and you're grateful for it because there was thought and love put into the gift. And so receiving that means that you're receiving that love. You're receiving that gift.
You're receiving it. You're suck it up.
You do.
Because it's not the color of your bedroom. And it just is not the feel that you want to put on your body. But you love it. You put it on display somewhere. You just have to appreciate that, right? What about this one? What about from a philosophical point of view? As we live our lives every day around the holiday season, how are we viewing gifts that are given by others or by the universe? Are we recognizing any gifts
from the universe, Law? Let's delve deeper into that. So what gifts from the universe? What would be some examples? I like that.
Well, I'm a New Englander, so on the New England track, I think all of us can relate that come from cold weather climates. And when I have more temperate weather, or I have a winter where we're not like snowed in and killing ourselves with the slush, and to me, I recognize that as an immense gift.
Nice. And Californians
right?
are very grateful for rain. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. How about the gift of looking in the mirror and seeing yourself for what you actually see, not for what you want to see? So that is, as you age,
Mm. Mm-hmm,
seeing the
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
wrinkles, seeing the imperfections, seeing the scars, but then feeling like, wow, there's a gift in there for me of understanding that represents my
My
life.
heart here. I have to tell you, because my own personal experience, I have lost a little bit of weight. And so I look at my body, which is now kind of a wrinkly because I got some skin. And I look at that and I'm like, okay, that could be considered by some to not be attractive. But for me, it's almost like it's a battle scar. It's like, you know what? I'm proud of my
It's
body. Yeah, I am
triumphant.
proud. I
Yeah.
am grateful. I am actually so grateful for my body, for being resilient and for the things that my body has been through. And I think that we can apply this to our businesses as well, right? Our journey as our businesses. But like my body has been through a journey. My mentality, my entrepreneurship has been through a journey. And I'm grateful for all of it because I've survived it and I've been able to come out the other side more joyful and educated and more motivated to do even more. And so I really try to take a look at that and be grateful for that gift from the universe, right, that I have received. And I love that we kind of brought the gifts from the universe into this discussion because I think we have them every day and we don't always recognize them for what they are, and we aren't always receiving them or acknowledging them with the amount of gratitude or thought that I think we should.
Right. Or even just mindfulness, conscientiousness of seeing it and observing. We talk about it from an actor's point of view, but from a human point of view, are you really seeing what is in front of you? What are you uncovering? And since we're diving deep, I'll go one deeper because you're not only surviving, Annie, you're thriving in the gratefulness and
Yes,
the
I agree.
recognition, in the
People thrive.
gift of that. And that's what makes you so beautiful, both aesthetically, but also inside. There's a
Aw.
beauty and a
Thank you,
light
Law.
that happens in you. To me, that's very recognizable. And I'm going to dive even deeper. I'm going to say I have someone very close in my family suffering from a very deadly illness and beating it. And I watch it
Yeah.
every day go into remission, and I watch it turn around, and I watch it. Now, from the outside, this person is somewhat
Sure.
suffering and all of that. From the inside, I see that little soul, that little spirit winning, and I'm like, a gift, a
Yeah.
gift, a
Oh,
gift, a gift.
every
Every
day is a
day,
gift. It's so
gift.
true.
If I lose the job, if I
Yep.
don't look good one day, whatever, this is the gift that I'm going to keep coming back
Law,
to.
of course.
This
And I
is it,
totally
right?
identify with that. I mean, it is, and we've talked about this before. I mean, yeah, when someone that you love or someone you're close to is going through a challenge, mental challenge, health challenge, whatever that might be, I mean, in reality, it really points us towards knowing and understanding what those gifts are. And I've said it before, when I was going through my own health challenge, I mean, once I got back in the studio, I was like, gosh, what was I ever worried about? You know, here I was thinking, oh, my voice doesn't sound in a particular way, or I'd worry about those things. And I'm like, my
Yes.
gosh, I have just been given this immense gift, and I'm here to be able to experience and here to be
Right.
able to just do what I love in this booth and just be
Yes.
and be grateful. And boy, I'll tell you what, that comes through in our voices, doesn't it? It emanates from us. And as performers, I think that it behooves us to be good receivers, right, of the gifts that are
Yes.
being given to us, because it just absorbs into our energy and just radiates out from our performances.
It so
Yeah.
does. And I mean, the gift of knowledge of how to give as well. So, like, for instance, when it comes to philanthropy and charity, I love that. I'm big in that. I'll give a quick plug to our 100
Yes.
Voices Who Care.
We love
who we
100
Claire
Voices Who
and the
Care.
gang
Yeah.
we love so much. I'm a member. And to me, it's such a relief. It's such a gift to me to figure out how to give in a
Yes.
very safe and impactful and thoughtful way.
absolutely.
And as long as I make money, I'm going to give forever because I don't have to
Sure.
think about it. It's one less thing I have to think about because I know it's vetted, I know
Yep.
it's legit, and I know the people come from
Right.
their heart and soul. Wow, to me, that's a gift.
Exactly. And you know, the cool thing about 100 Voices Who Care is honestly, it does not take a lot of money. And that's really
No.
what the big thing is. And it's literally say $100 4 times a year, and that's it. And ultimately that combined with the community, the togetherness that is also in kind donating that is $10,000 that can be given to people in need or organizations in need. And I think that that's absolutely wonderful. And I think really whatever giving charity that you want, again, giving that and then expecting that the people who are in need are receiving that and they're grateful for it, right? That's what makes the world go round. And that's what I think really giving is so easy to talk about because I love to give myself. And I mean, I consider the VO Boss, we're giving of ourselves joyfully because it's something that we both love to do. We love to share. We love to be a resource. And we love to help if we can. And that's what we're here for. But I really, really also want bosses out there to understand the importance of being able to see and acknowledge and receive in kind and be okay. It is for you. It doesn't have to be for anybody else. You don't have to feel compelled to turn around and give it somewhere else. I fully believe that if a gift is meant for you and you love it and you keep it for yourself, you give in other ways, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be that you have to turn around and feel like, oh, I either need to give that gift or give a portion of that gift or you can keep it. I mean, it's okay. It was meant for you in love. And that is something that I think is really wonderful. And of course, I mean, let's make it more from a business perspective, right? Being able to ask for the money that you deserve for a job that has been well done is, first of all, when you do that, yes, do that. But when you get that actual money and you receive that money, then you'll notice that I feel like the cycle or the circle has been completed.
Yes, absolutely. And here's another one that is amazing, but can be tricky in how it's received. You and I know I'm grateful and fortunate that we're nominated, you and I, and our companies for SOVA's nominations, which I'm thrilled. I'm over the moon. So when I learned that, now you've been nominated for years now. That was my first time around being nominated. When I learned that, it challenged me a little. I'll be honest with you. It challenged me. I had to sit there and go, wow, okay, do I deserve that? Is that okay? Do I deserve that? Was there anyone that deserves it more than me? Or like it challenged me in a way. I was over the moon, thrilled. I love to be a part of it, the community, be recognized. But at the end of the day, you have to sit alone with yourself and say, I did this. We did this. I did this. And I accept the good things coming my way, along with the challenging things as well. It's like you have to have a little conversation with yourself about that. And I'm very careful. Like, I don't want my head to be big. I don't want to be gloaty about it. I don't want to hold it over anyone else. I want to be very humane about the recognition that we as the company get because I feel so grateful for it. I don't feel like, oh, of course I deserved it. I'm the best. I feel like that's going in a direction of morality that is not of high integrity. The highest integrity people are people who are humble and they're modest and they have humility about themselves and their work. Those are the people that I always have admiration for.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And receiving acknowledgement, right? Receiving acknowledgement is absolutely another important, very important, I think, factor in really having fulfilling and successful entrepreneurial journeys and businesses, right? I think a lot of times what happens, we get a lot of people coming into this industry that are so unhappy in their jobs because I always tell people in the corporate world, all we really want is love. All we want is love and acknowledgement, right? Like
and validation.
Validation. It helps to make money, right? So you can pay the bills. Absolutely. I mean, that's first and foremost. But I think a lot of times when people are dissatisfied with their work, it's because they've really put their heart and soul into it and nobody's acknowledged that. And nobody has really recognized that or given them a compliment or credited them for that. And so that, I think, is one source of people really wanting to come into business for themselves. And so now when we're entrepreneurs, feedback that we get, and it's rare that we get feedback from clients, right? Unless we go out and ask for it, which I'm the biggest fan of going out and getting testimonials, right? Get yourself that acknowledgement. But also when it comes unexpectedly, it's something that I think we need to be prepared to just receive it and be grateful for it and really know that you're worth it. Because there's something to be said about people who are constantly degrading or downplaying or shunning those compliments or acknowledgments or awards. And we did a podcast on awards. There's lots of different opinions about awards. Do people need an award to do their business? Not necessarily, but I'll tell you, sometimes that recognition, very similar to being in a corporate job or whatever it might be, getting a little bit of recognition can really help. Emotionally, mental. I mean, I feel like everything in life, it all stems mentally. And then it kind of, I'm going to say, pushes out physically, right? Like, I feel like everything is in our head. Like, that's what is controlling the earth, right? Our thoughts, right? I feel like it's our thoughts and how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about others and how we treat others. It just directly affects the physical everything. And I think that it's so important. I just rambled off on this kind of tangent, but I think it's all related, right?
It's all related because think of any relationship we have. Like, I love acknowledging. I love validating. I love giving compliments. I love that. It doesn't only make me feel good. It's necessary. It's like, okay, we're going to be tough on someone. We're going to give honest feedback. We're going to say no to someone. We're going to be harsh at times. But it's really important to have those moments where you go, you know what? I'm really proud of you. Or, hey, you did it. Nicely done. I'm so excited for you. Because otherwise, I find people in general get really down on themselves very fast and then lose steam, lose energy, lose motivation because they ultimately start to want to please or be liked by the casting producer, coach, whatever. And it becomes personalized in that way. So it's like a fine line.
Yeah.
I, of course, want to have that know, like, and trust factor. Of course, I want to have that in the business world. But there's a fine line. Like, we don't want to be motivated to only be liked and only be validated, right? Otherwise, you're seeking to receive things all the time, which are not earned.
Absolutely.
They're not always well earned. They're just that like little honor, that little star for no reason. I want to live in a meritocracy still. I want to be rewarded when I've earned it.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because you're right. Seeking to receive all the time is not good either. Being able to receive is one thing, but seeking to always have likes or stuff like that is also not healthy. Doesn't create for a healthy business either, right? When you're constantly seeking approval. And I think that really kind of stems from other issues, like when you're seeking approval all the time. And that could be a whole nother podcast, Law.
That is a whole nother podcast.
Why do we seek approval?
How do we respond to all of the things that happen in our world that are not what we want or not what we're expecting to come back to us? How do we respond to those things? Like not being nominated, not getting the award, not getting, how do we respond to that? That always is a little pang.
Always a pang, even when you know better, like myself. And we know we've been on both sides, right? When we want that acknowledgement, we want that award, we want that feedback. And sometimes it just doesn't come back to us the way that we want. And so how do we deal with that, right? Again, that's not necessarily a rejection, right, of something that you're receiving. It's that you haven't received it. And so now what? Now what do you do with that longing, that desire, that hope? How do you get yourself back in balance?
That's right. That's right. Balance is really the key because the more balanced we are, the more we can easily give and offer and receive and take. And not do it from an ego point of view, not do it from this heavy egocentric, but really do it from a place that's very balanced and very open and very like, it's like a give and take of feng shui. You know what I mean? Like you're cleansing. Every time you give something away, I find when I feng shui my office or my studio and I give things away, if it's received well, I feel cleansed, right? And if I'm receiving something well, I feel cleansed. There's like a cathartic thing that happens, a purification that happens if it's not coming from pure ego, which I love. I think it's fabulous.
I can talk. Clear the clutter.
Clear the
clutter. Physically clear the clutter in your brain. I mean, it can really do a lot to propel you and your business forward. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
What a really cool conversation, Law. I love it. I love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, guys. And as we spoke about before, 100 Voices Who Care, simple mission, big impact. 100 voices, 1 hour, $10,000, guys. You can really make an impact. Visit 100voiceswhocare.org to find out more. And big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL. Gosh, I love IPDTL. I just love IPDTL. They give us the opportunity to give and receive, Law, you and I, back and forth for this podcast. And I absolutely love the fact that we can connect and do so. Find out more at IPDTL.com. You guys have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
See you next time.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your host, Ann Ganguza. And take your business to the next level. Sign up for our mailing list at voboss.com and receive exclusive content, industry revolutionizing tips and strategies, and new ways to rock your business like a boss. Redistribution with permission, coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.